In part 6, we're going to be finishing up all the drywall, and we're going to paint the ceilings and the walls. And, of course, there's going to be a few mistakes. But first, let's finish up the drywall. For the box around the chimney, I'm still going to be using one of those aloe protective corner things. And as you can see, I'm speeding around adding drywall mud, as well as some drywall tape, to make sure if anything cracks, you can't even see it. And I will be doing the same in the walk-in. Alright, so what mistake did I do this time? Well, if you know anything about building and the order of which to do stuff, you probably already know. I need to move a few power outlets, and I need to add quite a few more, which means that I have to break the wall again in order to create space for the electrician to add the wire, which means that the finish I did in the walk-in in the last video have to be broken, as well as the finish I did in the bedroom also has to be broken, which just sucks. When you think about it, it makes logical sense, but in my head, I had just not even thought that far ahead, so here we are. But before getting to that, it's time to sand all the ceilings. I sanded everything down, and I gave it another layer of drywall mud. I also added some caulk around the corners of the chimney box, and then I started to paint all the edges of the ceiling. We're just going to be going for white for the ceilings. Once all the corners are done, I can start painting the whole thing. And as you can see, one layer was not enough, even though I didn't buy the cheapest paint, so I had to wait for it to dry and go over it again. I painted the bedroom and my wife did the walk-in. With that done, it was ready. And once the ceiling was dry, I could finally start to destroy my wall again. We need to move the switch because we moved the door, so it would kind of suck if we had to go all the way through the room and turn on the light instead of just being able to turn it on when we're entering the room. Getting out the big grinder again and just cutting out the lines. And then after that, I took the chisel and just started hammering. Oh, that just hurt me. Not so much in the walk-in, but in the bedroom, it sucked. I need to make sure that it was deep enough to cover up the power cable. Getting out the bottom was not too hard. A little bit of an awkward angle, but not too bad. However, since I used a big grinder, I couldn't get out the corner, so the electrician had to do that for me. And now I could finally start painting out the wall in the bedroom. We're still going with this warm terracotta as we used in the walk-in. Since my wife and I used to live in an apartment full of white walls, we were both like, nope, we need color. So that's what we did. With all the edges painted, I could use the big roller to finish up the job. And as you can see, I painted around the outlets because the mud was not dry yet, so I couldn't really paint there. I had to wait for that to dry, but in the meantime I could paint the rest. Getting the edges ready, I could use the big roller to finish up the rest. And if you're interested to see what happens next, subscribe to follow.